Recording is now in progress.
Awesome. Good evening, everyone. Tonight we have our speaker, Jeffrey Combs. Our topic tonight is asking questions in a sequence. Let me just give you a little bit about Jeff's background. Jeff is a renowned author, speaker, and success, I don't know why I get tongue-tied there, success and addiction coach who specializes in separating feelings from past events in a process called letting go. Jeff started his business Golden Mastermind Seminars 23 years ago in 1998, and since then has coached over 14,000 clients and 70,000 one-on-one hours. Jeff has published 5 books, including a #1 on Amazon's best-selling list, and has been featured on social media publications, magazines, radio, Fox, ABC, CBS, and Lifetime. Jeff is available for one-on-one coaching as well as keynote speaking, podcast Zooms, and Facebook Lives. Jeff, I am so excited for this topic tonight, asking questions in a sequence. The floor is yours.
Good evening, everyone. Thank you. And Desiree, thank you for that exceptional edification. I do appreciate it. And it is good to be here with you. And that trucker hat you're wearing, Desiree, is very cool. So good to see everyone this evening. And I want to welcome you to this call that's being, or this live, this Zoom that is being recorded. So my selling career goes back to, as a teenager in college, I started selling radio and television at an online radio station where I was getting a degree in radio, television, and journalism. And as a teenager, I also sold Time Life books, specifically the Cowboy series, in a telephone room in Denver, Colorado when I was 19 years old as a summer job. That was my first introduction to selling. I also sold Yellow Page advertising for 3 years. That was like getting an MBA in sales. So I have been practicing the art of asking for many, many years. My network marketing and direct sales career goes back to 1988. And then with my first full-time business, Herbalife, in 1990. So I have a lot of history of asking the questions in a sequence. And that's my own patented term that I developed for specifically the art of asking. I produced this audio program. This is the old.
And I
produced this program that it's back in 2008.
Nice.
Psychology of asking,
right? When you know that it's sustainable for someone, because that's what I love the most about this, is that it's not a quick fix.
Excuse me.
It's not something that you do, lose weight, and then like just pretend like you can go on with life the way it was. It's a lifestyle, and you can
Linda,
and you can go into maintenance.
Linda, mute your line, Linda. Thank you. Sorry, Jeff.
No problem. It happens. So my sales career is a long history, and I started to develop a sequence of the questions. It doesn't matter what you're presenting or what you're selling to, as long as you are skilled at asking the questions, you'll be in command of the conversation. The objective is never to control the conversation. The objective is to have a relaxed conversation and find out if the person you're speaking to qualifies for your time, the business, the product, the benefit, and the feature. Even though you have great products, great benefits, great features, and you have the opportunity to live the dream, not everyone is open to what you're looking for. And the key component in being able to create win-win situations is attracting to your reality people who are looking for your products, your services, your benefits, and features. And that means it's your responsibility to qualify people for your time so that you're not wasting time spinning your wheels, chasing, begging, and stalking people to join your team or your business. And unfortunately, that's what many people do who aren't skilled at selling. Sales is the highest paid profession in the world. The network marketing industry goes to great lengths to seduce you into believing you're not selling. And they use the word sharing and other terms that have been around ever since I was around. But I have always taught sales skills because it's the highest paid profession in the world. And it's also an industry that you want to move into in a relaxed body, not in fight or flight or overwhelmed. And the more that you're able to understand why people buy and why they don't, the more you're able to understand what a qualified buyer is versus someone who's interested. There's a difference between someone who's interested and someone who is committed. And with your system that you have, the videos you have, the presentations that your company provides for you. Now, I believe your company has, without a doubt, some of the top tools in the industry, in the business, in all of it. I mean, I've always felt that Isagenix had just great videos. Even going back to when I coached a lot of people in the mid 2015, 16, 17, why Isagenix, that whole system that they've always had. It's been awesome. And so I know that it's been updated and it's improved, and then your team has enhancements. And the objective is to be able, in duplication, to have a relaxed conversation with someone, qualify them for the product, service, benefits, and features, see if they are the right fit, and then give them the opportunity to see a presentation, whether that's an in-home, whether that's a video, a Zoom, whatever it is that your team, your company, your culture is using. That's where duplication comes from the simplicity of it. And that's why that everyone can learn to ask the questions in a sequence. The challenge for most of the society and most of the world is they have anxiety about the outcome before they get there. I've been a coach for going on 24 years, 23 years full-time. I'm about to start my 24th year will be this summer. And I have coached, like Desiree said, over 17,000 people. And a large percent of the people I've coached have anxiety about selling, asking, getting in trouble, making mistakes, saying the wrong thing, getting overwhelmed, being rejected, being abandoned, and made fun of. Any multitude of situations that people hold on to. And the more that you understand that it's your anxiety that keeps you procrastinating, the story from the past events about the future that keeps you holding on to avoiding, procrastinating, and getting ready to get ready. A large percent of the industry spends a great deal of their time on training calls, getting trained, watching videos, going to seminars, and going to events, and they all serve a purpose. However, action is paramount. That was a Napoleon Hill statement from the book Think and Grow Rich. Action is paramount, meaning that it's the conversations that give you the repetition and the experience. And the more that you become comfortable with asking the questions in the sequence means there's a series of questions you ask prospects. And you can interchange the products and the services, the benefits and the features, but the questions are going to be similar when you become skilled. That means you have a method, a routine, and a system, and a way to go about qualifying a prospect for your time. Not everyone qualifies for your products, services, benefits, and features. Even though you have great vanity products, weight loss products, detox products, you have gut products, hair products. I'm very aware of how cutting edge Isagenix is and what they're consistently bringing to the table. My wife has been drinking shakes ever since I started dating and marrying her. I've been drinking the shakes for well over 15 years myself. So I'm very, very aware of the evolution, the improvement, the brand of Isagenix. So that's all there in place for you, but that means that requires you to show up in your own business. And your own business requires you to step up consciously. That means an elevated state of consciousness into letting go of your anxieties based on past events that are unresolved and future events that you worry about, so that you can be here and you can be now. And you can ask, the questions are very simple. What's your name? Where are you from? What do you do for a career? I mean, there's three ways you ask a question: through fact finding, rapport building, and small talk. And the more skilled you become at this, the better off you are going to be. I prospect 7 days a week. I have consistently been prospecting for going on well over 30 plus years. I had 2 prospecting calls today where neither one of the prospects bought from me. They didn't reject me. It's not that they weren't interested. They had a reason why they couldn't. I couldn't overcome the objection. I thanked them, moved on, and let them go. There's no reason for me to follow up with either one of those prospects, and there's no reason for me to follow up with most of my prospects, because I am skilled at understanding who is, who isn't, who will get back to me, who won't, and I can hear what's meant, not said. This requires repetition and experience. I do follow up with people who I feel merit the follow-up, and I don't follow up with the people who don't merit the follow-up because I can tell. Last week alone, I had 2 men reach out to me. They both let me know that they were very serious. They both let me know that they were seeking a coach. I did 2 20-minute calls with them. One of them said he had to speak to the missus. That's how he said, the missus. I mean, that's his wife. I had to speak to the missus and he'd get back with me. He never got back to me. The other man said he'd get back to me the next day. He never got back to me. That's a common occurrence in my world. That happens. They're not rejecting me. They're not abandoning me. They're not mad at me. They're not buying from me. I'm clear on that. That's just how it goes. And you get clear with that. Sales is not a numbers game. Network marketing is not a numbers game. It's a people business. And the more you understand this, and the more you understand people, because that's your product, the more you understand people, their behaviors, their habits, their buying tendencies, why they do what they do, and their predictability. The more you understand this, the skill set becomes enhanced. And as you begin to let go of your anxiety about the outcome, seldom if ever does anyone reject you. If someone gets confrontational with you and starts challenging you, that will be an isolated incident. That does not happen very frequently. It might happen more frequently if you put it out in the energy that you're afraid that's going to happen. Well, you'll attract your reality frequently, people and situations to fulfill your feelings. So it's your responsibility to understand to do this. Let go. That's the separation from the feelings and the events about the outcome that hasn't happened. So that's anxiety. So it's not stress. Anxiety is a series of emotions that we hold on to that are called trauma bonds. Trauma comes from events that are unresolved. So if you have rejection issues, abandonment issues, and there's a separation between those two. Rejection is when it's personal. Abandonment when someone is in a relationship with you, but there's not a connection. And so there's an abandonment issue. And your prospects aren't rejecting you and they aren't abandoning you. They will give you a series of objections about why they're not able to purchase, buy, move forward, whatever the situations are. You're going to hear, I don't have the money. I want to think about it. I want to do my research. Thinking about it and research are two different situations. The person who tends to want to think about it, that is a qualified reason not to commit usually. The person who gives you the money excuse, oftentimes it may be a money reason. Sometimes it's not an excuse, sometimes it's a reason. You have to differentiate between that. And then the person that says, I want to talk to the fireman, the dog catcher, someone down the street in the same situation I am, my significant other, my wife, husband, clergyman, accountant, attorney, whoever they want to talk to for third-party validation, and then there's not interested. 5 main objections: money, think about it, research, wife, husband, spouse, not interested. Not interested means they're not interested. So now you're down to 4 main objections. You're going to hear these 4 main objections frequently. Money, think about it. Think about it is usually a deflection. Research means it's usually the 15% of society that wants to do the research. That means that they buy intellectually, they buy logically, they buy realistically, they buy of facts, figures, and data. They actually do want to do the research. And then the 4th one is they're not interested. So those are the 4 main objections. And we've eliminated, or I'm sorry, those the 4 main objections: money, think about it, research, and talk to someone else. Not interested, they're not interested, you let them go. So when you're asking questions, the question asking process is not an interrogation. The question asking process is an interview, a very relaxed, loosely formed interview. You become comfortable in doing it over and over. So if I walked into a Starbucks with Desiree and I saw a young man behind the counter or a young woman, and I looked at her name tag and the name was Stephen or Susan, and I saw that Stephen or Susan had multitasking skills, they were handling the front counter, they're communicating, creating eye contact. As it's my turn to move up to that counter, I would say, Stephen, you look like you have great multitasking skills. Have you ever considered owning your own business? That's a qualifying question. That's a trial closing question. I asked Steve, I used Stephen's first name to connect the question. It's Stephen, comma, pause. You have great multitasking skills, compliment. And then I asked the trial closing question, have you ever considered being an entrepreneur? I have. I said, Stephen, would it be possible for me to get your phone number? There's 2 questions back to back. I've actually received Stephen's phone number and gave the number to my prospect, or I've called that person for my client before. I mean, it's like this: Stephen, I met you yesterday at Starbucks in Chicago, Illinois. Do you remember me? That's the question. Do you remember me? So when you're asking questions in a sequence, it's 5 to 15 words. That's my rule of law of averages: 5 to 15 words that end with a question mark. I asked a client a question last night when he went on a complete drunkalogue. a complete story unrelated to the question. And after about 45 seconds, I said to him, I go, Tom, do you remember the question I asked you? He paused, checked out. He completely forgot the question because he was telling me a story. As a skilled prospector, as a skilled person, as a skilled entrepreneur, it's your responsibility to understand that many of the people you ask a question will answer you with unrelated topics and content to your question. It's your responsibility to learn to diplomatically interrupt a person so they don't go for 5-10 minutes telling you unrelated stories, and you interrupt them diplomatically by using their first name and asking the same question again. It's a skill set. No one ever goes, you're rude for interrupting me. I'm not rude. I'm skilled at what I do. And the more you understand this, then you will spend less time with non-qualified buyers and more time with people who are qualified. And what you're also looking for are people who see the value like this. There are people who are ready to buy. I've seen many people talk that person out of being ready to buy because they TTM, talk too much. That's what many people do, is they TTM, talk too much. I teach less is more frequently. So the less you talk, typically, the better you will be at evaluating the situation. It's not talking that's important, it's asking, it's keeping a conversation flowing. And the only way you to get good at this is to let go of being your analytical brain, your left brain. This is your limbic brain. It's right back here. Right back in your limbic brain is a little gland called, or is an area called the amygdala. The amygdala is where your intuition is. Your intuition means to intuit. In your amygdala is where your extrasensory perception is. And the more you understand that it's going to be responsible for you to be able to hear what's meant, not said. Yeah, how's that spelled? Y-E-A-H, I-L-L. I'll get back to you. What does that mean? It means they won't get back to you because it's going to be your responsibility to understand this. The more you understand how predictable people are. Now, in my business, no one ever gets back to me. That's just how it is. If they don't buy relatively soon, they don't buy from me. That's just how it is. That's my business. That's my sales model. Seldom does anyone ever get back to me. And that's just how it is. I mean, I understand that. I'm not disappointed. I'm not frustrated. I'm not pissed off. I'm not worried. I'm not overwhelmed. I don't have stories about, oh my God, there's no qualified buyers out there. There are millions of people who are ready to buy. It's our responsibility to attract the qualified buyers to our reality. But if your ego goes, oh, this is difficult, this is so hard, this is so expensive, you have talked yourself out of your prosperity and you've talked yourself right back into your poverty. And so many people have poverty consciousness, broke thoughts, money issues, debt issues, and they have a lot of challenges about receiving. And this is important that you begin to understand this and you step up in your power and you become skilled at asking questions in a sequence. It's a flow chart. And I cover it in great detail in this right here. This product, it's a download. You can buy it for whatever it is on my website. I think it's $97. It's a 10 CD set. It's free. It comes free with coaching. I have a lot of products that I've produced in studio: psychology of closing, psychology of prospecting, psychology of asking. The first 10 years of my career were devoted to teaching sales techniques, sales skills, prospecting. Then the next 10 years of my career were devoted to teaching people how to let go, understanding their emotional addictions. And then the last 4 years of my career, I've been teaching people how to scale consciousness. So that's a 24-year coaching career, plus 10 years prior of being a network marketer and direct salesperson, and learning the skill set myself on how to create a culture, how to attract to my reality, quality, like-minded prospects who saw the value in the product, services, benefits, and features. And then I also learned how to sell the dream while doing that concurrently. This is a process. This is evolution. It doesn't matter how long you've been in the business. What matters is how evolved you become while you're in the business. So the last 5 years, if you haven't seen the success you wanted, that doesn't have anything to do with this year. What has everything to do with this year is who you choose to become right now. I mean, like right now, RFN, right now. And for those of you who know, I like to use acronyms. You know what RFN means to me? That means like now o'clock. And that means that when you put your head on the pillow tonight, that this can be your night, baby. This is it. This is the end of the era. This is the death of the ego. This is when I elevate myself. This is when I step up into that person I'm capable of being. This is when you let go of trauma bonds, overwhelmed feelings about not being good enough. You let go of the weight that you hold on to. You let go of the feelings that you stuff. You let go of the disappointment and the frustration, and you actually put the effort into being your best self. The reason that most people fail is they don't put the effort in between seminars, events, Zoom calls, and training calls. They become very lackadaisical about living their dreams. Their mouth moves and they want to live their dreams, but their mouth isn't committed to living those dreams. And if the word commitment isn't in your vocabulary, that means you're interested. And for you to be a six-figure income earner, $8,333 in a calendar month times 12, that's 100,000, or a seven-figure income earner, $83,333 times 12, then that's talk and that's action. And every single one of you on tonight's Zoom can be where some of the leaders are in your culture. I know that because I coach them. I've coached hundreds of people in this culture, hundreds of people in your company, thousands and thousands of people, and I've watched many good people get ready, and I've seen a few people transcend their anxiety, fear, and doubt, elevate their consciousness, and begin to create the quantum leap. So a quantum leap is where 2 + 2 = 16. That's a quantum leap, and that can happen when the dues are being paid. When you've built a foundation, when you have the fundamentals down, and you become skilled at prospecting, because you require volume in your business. Now, it's not a numbers game, it's the skill in the numbers. So if you're talking to people, there's a big difference between talking and qualifying. I spoke to a man today. I spoke to him for 10 minutes. He started telling me his story and his woes. I was listening to him, and I asked him, are you serious about hiring a coach? So the first word out of his mouth was well. That's a hole in the ground in a place where water's stored. Now, well leads to the story. He tells me a story about his financial situation. I thanked him. I said, I appreciate that. I understand that. But my question was, are you serious about hiring a coach? He wasn't serious. I thanked him and let him go. I let him know he could follow my lives. He could follow my Zooms. He could follow my trainings, but he didn't qualify. It's not just that he didn't have the resources. I could tell in his energy that he didn't have the energy. He wasn't what I was looking for. I'm not looking for the most difficult client. I'm not looking for someone at rock bottom. I'm not looking for, I don't want to coach your son that's a heroin addict. That's not what I'm looking for. That's not what, I mean, I would if the situation merited it, but that's not my ideal client. I'm looking for someone who is serious, someone who doesn't give me excuses, someone who is willing to do the effort in between the calls. And that's what you are looking for. So when you're looking for people, when you are seeking the outcome to live your dreams in a leveraged business, it comes from attracting people to your reality who believe what you believe. My fucking belief is off the charts, and my belief has been off the charts. So when I'm building businesses, I'm looking for people like that. I'm looking for hairdressers. I'm looking for, I don't care what your profession is. What I care is, do you have a belief? Do you believe in living your dreams? So when I was prospecting people in your business, I asked them dream questions all the time. I didn't ask them if they wanted to lose weight. Those are still good questions, but I led with the dream. And so I look for people who believed what I believe. I wanted to be a millionaire, not suck air. I didn't want to suck air. I spent my 30s being an addict, and I was fucking done with that. I spent my 20s being an addict. I spent my 30s building my culture. I spent my 30s improving my consciousness. I spent my 30s developing my skills. I spent my 30s learning how to build a network marketing business. I did presentations twice a day in an office. I did thousands and thousands of calls. I would show up in the office when no one would be there. I did 2 presentations a day, 4 days a week, 1 presentation a day on Friday and Saturday. And I did every presentation for years, and I got really good at it. It was the repetition and experience. But most importantly, I got good at asking the questions. How serious are you about starting a business from the comfort of your home? How serious are you about improving the quality of your health? How serious are you about improving your facial features? How serious are you about improving your gut issues? How serious are you about improving your sex appeal? I mean, these are all questions. It's the same question. You insert the back end of it that ends with the question. And when you start to do this, And you like, oh, I don't want to upset someone. I don't want to bother someone. I don't want someone to think I'm a flake, a freak. I don't want someone to think I'm a network marketer, a direct salesperson. I don't want someone to think I'm an M&M, an M&M. No, it's ML, multi-level marketing. See, these are the stories that so many people tell to rob themselves of their dream. Your dreams are right out there, baby. They're right here, right now. You're in the right place at the right time, but it's your responsibility to recognize it and scale that consciousness. Scaling consciousness is like, it is the answer. That means you're able to separate yourself from your anxiety, fear, and doubt. If you're not able to do that, you're just going to keep treading water, hanging around the industry, going to seminars, rallies, conventions, watching other people succeed while you're getting disappointed. And what that means is that people that do that, they don't understand that they hold on to this payoff, the payoff of disappointment, the payoff of frustration. One of the most difficult challenges that I encounter with most of society that I coach, it doesn't matter what profession they're in, is being a let go specialist and a let go professional. Most of the world is addicted to disappointment, and they don't understand there's a payoff to that. And a payoff doesn't mean it's a positive benefit, but they keep doing it over and over to fulfill a neurochemical craving that they're emotionally addicted to. So if you coach with me, I won't spend hours on techniques. I will spend hours and hours on assisting you to let go of the trauma bond that keeps the reflex in fight or flight. Because I can teach you all the techniques in the world, but what separates me from any other coach is I'm one of the few people in the world that understands the reflex and the neurochemical response that the mind-body connection creates to create fight or flight. Because until you're able to let go of fight or flight, your body will keep reacting and you'll keep bumping into this place called the lid. It's called the law of the lid. And you'll get stuck at 2,000, 4,000, 6,000, 8,000, and 10,000. You won't be able to escalate. I'll tell you right now, there isn't one of you on this call that can't have a $100,000 a month. I watched Alexis do it. I was Alexis's coach in 2013 when she sent me a message. She goes, oh my God, Jeff. I just had it. I won't repeat the check she had, but she had this check and she said, this is surreal. And I said, Alexis, it's not surreal, it's real. And it was in 2013, right before July of 2013, right before the convention in Las Vegas. And I had a room at that event in the Mirage Hotel for 1,300 people. And it was amazing. I'll never forget that room. It was amazing in the Terry Fader Theater. And it was amazing the people that were there. This could be you. This can unequivocally be you, but it's going to be your responsibility to let go of the anxiety you hold on to. See, people go, can you send me a list of the questions? I can't, because it's not about the questions. It's about how you ask them. It's the energy that's in the question. I can give you the question. You go, hello, my name is Data, and I'm here to ask you questions in a sequence. No, dude, there's no fucking sexual energy in that. There's no transmutation in that. There's no feeling. There's no passion. There's no juice. There's no edge. I mean, you got to bring your New Jersey, New York edge, your East Coast edge to the game, wherever you live. You got to be able to have that grind in your teeth again that you lost. You got to be able to feel the feel, and you got to be able to get back. You got to either get back in the game or get in the game. If you've never been in it, now's the time. You can't wait until 2023. It's right here, right now. And so this is inspiration. This isn't perspiration. Inspiration is that gut feeling. It's that edge that you find. It's what gets you up in the morning. It's what allows you to play the game of life. I just walked over to a house I rehabbed. I spent the last 8 months with my wife rehabbing a property. We did a $400,000 rehab. I did it in between coaching, speaking, doing calls. I mean, I did it part-time, spare time. And I just created a masterpiece because I knew the outcome before I saw it happen. I had an assistant and my wife. I predicted exactly what I was going to be up against. Contractors that are pathological liars, people who overpromise and underdeliver. I qualified all of them for the questions. Can you honestly tell me you'll be here on Friday? Friday. When will this project be completed? Right before Christmas. I knew that meant March 1st, and March 1st is today, and the project is completed today, just like I knew it would, because I have experience. I would ask these contractors questions and watch them lie to me. I knew they were lying because they are pathological liars. They tell clients and customers what they think they want to hear. Not all contractors, but a large percent of them, because they lived in an overwhelmed state. And the tell was usually looking at their vehicles. when they open their van and you see the inside of their van, you go, oh my God. Or that weather stripping that's on the door is hanging below the door and the hubcap is dented. Well, that's a tell. That will give you an idea of who you're depending on. And the more you understand that thank you, Lisa. Lisa, like I said, there are a few people who are very clear in their communication, but a large percent of the people are overwhelmed and they overpromise and underdeliver. And the more you understand that, you can let go of people who are not going to be skilled at what you're looking for. I fired a couple of contractors and had to rehire other ones that were good, who were on time, who completed task projects, and now I have a finished project. It took 9 different contractors to complete this project. Factor how many questions I ask, how many times I ask commitment questions. What time you're going to be here? Can you commit to that? I mean, I would ask this over and over, and I would listen and go, let me see. So once again, this is the law of averages when it comes to qualifying people for your products, for your team, for your business, and for the outcome that you are seeking to create. So Desiree, that is my content for tonight. So it has been my pleasure to be here with you. For anyone who would like to get a hold of me, feel free to reach out to me. You can send me a Facebook message. Thank you, Vicki. Thank you. I appreciate that. I'm getting a few. Thank you, Lori. So thank you. I appreciate Natalie. Thank you. Oh, Natalie, thank you very much. Amy, thank you. Thank you. Thank you. If you are seeking some extra coaching outside of what you're already doing or what you already have, if you would like to find out a little more about my services, I offer free 20-minute coaching sessions, provided you have at least some interest in hiring a coach. There's no obligation for the coaching call, but if you'd like to find out more about how I can assist you, empower you, assist you to specifically to let go. Now, you have just absolutely rock star leaders in your team, like ROCK, STARS. You have top tier TOP tier leaders in your team and your company. I mean, it's right there right now. But if you want someone who can really specialize with you on how to let go of the trauma bonds, the anxieties you hold on to, the feelings that keep you not feeling good enough, I can assist you with that. I can deliver. So if you want a free 20-minute coaching call, go right up there into Facebook Messenger, send me your number, and I will return your request within 24 hours. And I will give you more insight in 20 minutes, perhaps. Amy just said game changer. So I'll give you in 20 minutes, 20 to 30 minutes. Sometimes my calls go a little longer, 20 to 30 minutes. I'll give you deep insight into cause and effect, why you do what you do, and then the way to create the separation between the feelings and the events. Amanda says 5 minutes and I was all in. Thank you, Amanda. I appreciate that. That is fantastic. Some great edification. I appreciate it. Desiree, my home girl, how are you?
Jeff, such an amazing call. I loved it. Everyone listened to the recording again because the content was amazing. Jeff, thank you as always. And thank you everyone for joining. And we